It's not personal. It's just business.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network. Your first listen every day, whether you're watching the show on YouTube, wherever you want to download your podcast. The show is always free, and the show always appreciates your support. Before NIL, the transfer portal, recruiting was always considered a really, really shady business. Look, in the SEC, they were doing pay for play, giving away cars well before it became fashionable. I mean, trust me, Nick Saban owning a Dodge dealership just down the street from Alabama's campus, it had everyone fooled. Yeah, sarcasm. Look, there's been books written about it. Bruce Feldman, he wrote a book called The Meat Market, Inside the Smash Mouth World of College Football. College football recruiting is the actual title. And trust me, it's a great read. I encourage anybody who's a recruiting enthusiastic, go spend some time with it. What it does, it takes a deep dive. It goes behind the scenes with Coach Orgeron, Coach O, and his staff while he was over there at Ole Miss. There's some crazy stuff going on behind the scenes when he and his staff were doing the recruiting, including the tussle for Joe McKnight. Yeah. USC, Ole Miss, LSU, Alabama, everyone was involved. I think there was one excerpt in the book where Coach O actually said, man, if we get Coach McKnight, we're going to get investigated. You know Coach O's voice. But here's my favorite. There was a portion in the book. It was on Letter of Intent Day, 2007. Coach O, he gave Pete Carroll a phone call early in the morning. 20 minutes before Coach O pulled into the parking lot, he had given Pete Carroll a little wake-up call. Orgeron knew his old boss would be sleeping in the office. That was a National Signing Day Eve tradition at USC. After a brief exchange of pleasantries, the Trojans coach told Orgeron what the big Cajun had feared he was going to hear. Carroll said he believed McKnight was going to be a USC Trojan. Quote, guess we'll find out soon enough. Good night, Pedro. End quote. If you know Coach Orgeron, you know the voice, and that's how he affectionately called Pete. He called him Pedro. So obviously Pete knew. USC ended up with Joe McKnight. We all know how everything ended there. Rest in peace, Joe. We all miss you. So another side of planning for official visits is you want to make sure that everyone feels like they're getting the attention they deserve. This is where I'm going to segue into USC's first recruiting bash weekend and the business side of it. I have to think, and I kind of alluded to it on yesterday's episode of Locked on USC, that 19 visitors, it's a really big number, right? But look, that's USC strategy. They planned it this way. Right? And I rattled off the 19 guys who are already here or at least on their way for this weekend. When you're done watching this episode of Locked on USC, go back and watch yesterday's episode. You can catch up on all those names. One name that was actually supposed to be at USC this weekend is a local defensive cornerback from Corona Centennial, LaRue Zamorona. And trust me, I've seen the guy up close. He passes the eyeball test. He meets the defensive back room prerequisite. He's 6'2". He just got back from his visit to East Lansing, Michigan. Yeah, out there with Michigan State Spartans, Jonathan Smith. Again, I said this on yesterday's episode. He and USC are rescheduling for a later date, talking about LaRue and USC. Now, when I heard that, my radar kind of went off. I was like, interesting. Started wondering why. Why would USC and local product say, you know what, let's reschedule? Who rescheduled? Who was initiating the reschedule and why? Because again, my train of thought is, why would anybody want to miss one of those June recruiting batches? Because when you're coming off one visit, that's the last thing you're going to remember. You would think you want to get that flushed out, right? Well, according to one source, it wasn't LaRue's decision to reschedule. Yeah. So it means there's only one other party involved here. Yeah, the host. So what are the optics when you're asking a player to reschedule? I mean, it could mean a lot of things, right? In this case, it could mean they want to, there's 19 other guys showing up. Maybe they want to give LaRue as much undivided attention as possible that he deserves. Because again, 19 guys that are anticipated to show up. Look, USC staff, they might feel that, hey, you know what? Got a lot of guys coming from out of state. I think we're more inclined to spend that time on those out of state guys. That makes sense, right? I mean, how much of it has to do with Dorian Brew, that 5-star cornerback whose RSVP arrived late? Well, I mean, he's going to be here this weekend. Does this send the wrong message when you're asking local recruits to reschedule while you have other higher rated recruits, according to the folks who do the evaluating, coming in that play the same position? Is this a good look, or is it just business? I mean, look, depending on the relationship and the communication process, this could end up biting USC in the butt. Could. Still a long ways to go. But, Michigan State, they got a new head coach over there. Jonathan Smith came over from Oregon State. He also brought in a really good secondary coach, Demetrice Martin, nicknamed Meat. See how this whole thing's tying together. The guy can recruit. Really good coach. My concern is now, you've got LaRue coming off his visit to Michigan State, and you're extending the time period between that visit and when he's going to be on USC's campus. Is that a good thing? Once Meat gets in your ear, he doesn't let go. Trust me, he's a really good recruiter. So we'll see how that plays out. Again, it could be for a variety of things, multiple reasons. Why do you think it happened? Just throwing it out there. Again, recruiting it's a dirty business. It really is. It's a business that revolves around teenagers. And you've got to make multi-million-dollar decisions when you're a head coach. And those multi-million-dollar decisions are about your job and your assistant coach's jobs and everything else behind the scenes. All right. In other recruiting news, a couple more visitors. USC has 2 more coming for the June 21st weekend. Yeah, they're not piling on this one. I mentioned this name before. Elite edge rusher Marco Jones, 6'4", 240 pounds, 245 pounds. He plays for San Ramon Valley up there in Danville, California. He too is fresh off his visit to the Michigan Wolverines. So, June 21st, he's coming on over. He's going to check out USC. The other new addition for that weekend, I've also mentioned his name before, offensive tackle Jackson Lloyd, 6'6", 280 pounds, Carmel, California. Danville, Carmel, actually similar area. Jackson put out his final 6 list: Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon, Stanford, Tennessee, and yes, the aforementioned USC. And then I got one more thing. Maybe it's a hint of a kaboom, maybe coming, possibly. I know I told you that I really believe that Trey McNutt, the safety, who his father played at Ohio State, he's playing high school ball in Texas right now. I think I told you that I think when everything's all said and done, he would eventually choose Ohio State when he signs his letter of intent. Guess what? I quote, USC knocked it out of the park. That's according to On3's Chad Simmons, who, by the way, not the biggest Trojan recruiting fan. I don't mean he's biased. I'm just saying that he's not always going to have the best news when it comes to USC recruiting news. This time, this is really positive news. He says the momentum has shifted, and USC actually might be in the lead after that official visit. So, with that said, we'll find out what happens, but I like my crow served well done and with lots of gravy. I wonder how the NCAA likes their crow served. Just in time for the recruits to arrive this weekend. Just in time. Perfect timing. Guess what showed up at USC's front door, Heritage Hall? An old friend. Yep, Reggie Bush's Heisman Award. It's back where it belongs. It's inside Heritage Hall. USC can display all 8 of those Heisman Awards, more than any other program in the country. And like I said, just in time for all these official visitors to show up. You think it was planned this way? I do. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. I know you're watching Fox Sports, ESPN. It's on your TV all day long. I get it. I really do. But I also get that you're turning down the volume all day because it's all that screaming, all that shouting. Well, you know what? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel, and it's programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, and it's streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I think the biggest news out of this recruiting weekend, in my opinion, it would not be a new commit. Don't get me wrong. That would be great news if it actually happened, if USC got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 commitments. But you know what would actually be better than that? If Julian Lewis finished his official visit to USC this weekend, and then he said, you know what? I'm calling off the rest. No need. Don't need to do it. I'm done. Shutting it down. Should Julian Lewis cancel the remainder of his official visit trips? I know the right answer is no, he shouldn't. He should be able to enjoy the process. I mean, it would be super cool if he did, right? USC's quarterback of the future, Juju Lewis, he's taking his official visit to USC this weekend. And as I mentioned, he still has a couple more to go afterwards. But he did tell the On3 network a little over a week ago. Excuse me. I'm taking these visits for the experience. But look, I've been locked in with USC for a long time, and that's where I plan to go to college. Close quote. So look, if Lewis's mind, if he said his mind is made up, why go through the experience? Why tease the other programs? Look, I get it. I understand that he's enjoying the process. And I understand that he's been able to buy himself his first car. His dad a car. Sure, other members of his family will be getting one too. But I think it does give a little bit of cause for concern. Just a little bit. I'm not doubting the young man. However, you heard him talk about it. I mentioned it. He's enjoying the process. Been able to buy a new car, buy his dad a car. NIL, it has a way of getting involved more than it should in some cases. And remember, we're dealing with young adults, teenagers. I know you guys like to call them kids. I don't, not anymore. Not when we're playing adult games, making adult money, making adult decisions. No, you got to grow up fast in this business. I think if Coach Riley can convince Lewis to verbally pledge and call off his last official visits, then, again, this is just my opinion. Obviously, I'm saying it, so it is my opinion. I think USC's first June recruiting bash, the weekend, it would be a huge success. Huge, massive, significant. And it would send a message to all those wide receiver recruits out there and the ones who are going to be on campus for this weekend. You know, guys like Andrew Marsh, Dalen McCutcheon. Like, all right, if Juju's shutting it down, maybe we should too. You're not going to find a better quarterback out there. Remember, Juju said he's got some numbers on his phone. He's ready to make those calls. I think this weekend is the perfect time to shut it down. Tell those guys, hey, I'm shutting it down. You shut down. Let's get on the phone. Let's get our class finished. Let's put it together. I mean, similar to what Coach Henderson and Coach Nua did, getting those three guys back in March after the crawfish boil. Justice Terry, Isaiah Gibson, Gus Cordova. Hilton Stubbs also jumped on board. He's not defensive lineman, so if Riley can close the deal on the quarterback and the wide receiver combo that I just mentioned, look, I don't know. I'm not sure what everyone's, finger quotes, expectations are coming out of this weekend. But look, I plan on connecting with a few of these guys when they're done with their visits. And I'm going to have some updates for you here, as well as over there on WeRC.com. Some of the stuff I'm going to say, you know what? I needed to go splurge, spend $1. Go check it out over there on WeRC.com. Some of it will be VIP type of stuff. Remember, I wear two hats, Locked on USC as well as the one for WeRSC.com. But you'll always get your news and notes and USC nuggets. You'll get them here. But you'll also get more over there. So I only have 30 minutes. So all your news and notes in 30 minutes or less. That's the difference. So what else should USC fans anticipate coming out of this weekend? I told you what I would like to see happen. 19 guys coming across all spectrums. Defensive line, offensive line, wide receiver, safeties. Well, it'll be interesting to see. Like 2 commitments, maybe that's the number to shoot for. You know, when Lincoln Riley and his staff decided to do these June bashes, that was their strategy. Hey, let's just get everybody in and let's see who sticks. Well, the strategy has been sort of successful. But, you know, all that momentum they had after last year's bashes in June, you know, well, it was hard to hold on to that momentum when those defensive players that USC wanted and had pledged saw them play defense. And that's why we have a new defensive staff now. But we'll see what happens. A lot going on this weekend. A lot going on in the month of June. And a Locked On USC will be your place to get all that news, notes, and information. By the way, you like what you're hearing, you like what you're seeing, you're watching the show on YouTube, I need you to become a subscriber if you haven't already. Click that red subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up button. And don't forget to hit that bell notification. That way you will not miss an episode and you won't miss anything. All right. It's Friday, and you know that I always have a rant that I like to get into. This week, it's a fun one, but a couple of quick updates. This is for my everydayers. This is why you want to become an everydayer. So I sent JD Piquel an invite. Yeah, guess what? He accepted. We're gonna get an episode set up as soon as we can both coordinate our schedules. Remember, he's back east. I'm on the West Coast. He's got a really busy schedule, as do I. So we're just trying to dot our I's, cross our T's. We'll get it set up, and it's going to be JD Piquel on Locked On USC. All right, let's get into the rant. Everyone, look, I always have something I need to get off my chest, right? Something bugging me. Sometimes there's not something that's bugging me. I just want to talk about it. I want to talk about the energy inside the stadiums, right? I have been really critical of USC fans for a reason. They're bandwagon fans. When USC is winning, they will fill the Coliseum like there's no tomorrow. When Pete Carroll during those halcyon days when Pete Carroll was running the shop, yeah, a lot of fun. USC game days, a lot of fun. Well, it hasn't been so much fun since then. And I think USC can help it out a little bit better marketing, more atmosphere, a little more college ambiance. Everyone knows Vatek. When that team's getting ready to enter the stadium, yeah, enter Sandman, Metallica. Oof. The energy inside Hokie Stadium is freaking crazy. I mean, electric. You don't believe me? I'm sure you've seen it. When you're done watching this episode of Locked On USC, jump on YouTube. Do Virginia Tech Stadium entrance. That's all you got to do. And you're going to do this. Yeah, you're going to get the O face. And you're going to say, why can't USC do something like that? You know, there's other great stadium entrance songs. Welcome to the Jungle, Guns N' Roses. Thunderstruck, AC/DC. So if you had a rant, okay, and if you wanted to make sure everyone knew you were coming in hot, right, and you wanted some music playing in the background, what would be your entrance song? What are some of the best hype songs out there? Back when Pete Carroll was USC's head coach, the team would come out to Lose Yourself, Eminem. It got the crowd hyped. There was that crescendo. I mean, it worked. The Coliseum was full. The crowd's energy was touching 11 on the sound system. Anybody who's a fan of Spinal Tap, you'll understand that take. The amps only go up to 10. Theirs went up to 11. Look, remember, USC, it's a family atmosphere, or at least it's supposed to be. And I know a lot of the songs that at least I would like to hear, they're probably not appropriate to lead the team out, again, because of the family atmosphere. So who would you like to hear? Who are some of the bands or some of the songs that you'd like to see USC coming out of the tunnel with, getting the crowd pumped up? I'd love to hear Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit. But again, probably not going to make the cut. A lot of good lines in there, but yeah, probably not going to make the cut. There's 2 songs from the band Saliva. One, Click, Click, Boom. And here's the one I really would like. And maybe this is the artist in me coming out. I think if it was choreographed just right, I would love to see the team come out to, ladies and gentlemen, would you please bring your attention to me? Do you want it? Do you need it? Ladies and gentlemen, the song builds up, and then all of a sudden, boom, it hits you in the face. I mean, like that. That's the type of entrance music I want. I don't want to copy anybody else. Let's do something new, creative, be different. And look, I know it's from the movie Major League, but Wild Thing, crowd favorite. Can't go wrong there. I could list off a whole bunch. What would be your entrance song? That's what I want to hear in the comments section. If you have the spotlight on you, you wanted to make an impression, and you're standing there at the edge of the tunnel, curtain opens up. How are you coming out? What's playing in the background? What's got the crowd on their feet, jumping up and down, clapping their hands, screaming at the top of their lungs? Let's have some fun with that. All right, that's it. That's my rant for this week. It's another 5 episodes in the book. I will be back next week with another 5 episodes. We're coming off a huge official visitor weekend. I will have a lot to talk about. A lot of news, a lot of notes. We'll see. Maybe a couple commitments to tell you about. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.